beginning to come in. These are the projections. These are exit polls. They have a error margin, and of course, in pandemic times, even for the pollsters, it's difficult to reach out and get to the people and get their view in. But let's tell you what the C Voter Bengal projections look like. TMC set to get about 152 to 164. BJP projected to win 109 to 121. The left plus, which is the left, and the Congress and the ISF projected to get about 14 to 25. That's essentially what the C Voter is projecting. So essentially, as far as this is concerned, it does look like Mamata Banerjee is coming back, though on a slightly weaker foot. It does project a big gain, a massive gain for the BJP, but not a number that they would be too happy with. They had bigger ambitions, and to be restricted to this may not keep them very happy. From Bengal, we go across to Assam, and let's look at some of the initial projections that are coming in for Assam as well right now. On your screens, we're going to fire the plate for Assam as well, where the competition is largely between the NDA and the UPA, the many allies along with BJP, and many allies along with the Congress party. These are the seat share numbers that you're actually looking at right now. NDA projected to get 75 to 85, and UPA projected to get 40 to 50. So it's relatively closer, but the NDA is getting past the halfway mark even here. This is one set of projections we've got. Let's also get you the seat share number on this as well. And that will also give you a better sense as well for what share numbers. 48% is what we're looking at projected for NDA, and 40% projected for UPA, about 12% projected for the others. So this is the next set of numbers that we've got here right now, Vinay. Assam, while even the earlier opinion polls did keep a little close, but it was always in favor of the NDA despite all this anti-CA sentiment that we see.
Yes, there's only one word that I disagree with. If this is what is going to happen, and second, it's not a close fight at all. Actually, BJP is doing very well there, considering the so-called sentiment that people were talking about. Because here, if the range goes up till 80, and that's a very good performance, because clearly a lot of people believed that this was UPA's best chance in some ways to actually upstage the BJP. But that doesn't seem to be happening as far as the C Voter poll is concerned. So what it tells you is this, that the entire anti-CA narrative or the NRC controversy that was there hasn't worked for the opposition. The BJP has been able to withstand that concern that a lot of people had raised, and have done marginally better than what they, because if you see the midpoint of the range is higher than what they got last time. I mean, they had 74 seats, and if the current projection says between 75 and 85, the midpoint will be around 80. And I don't think that the UPA will be particularly pleased to see that despite all the sentiment that they were talking about, they've not been able to breach what they were able to do last time.
Is this a reflection, Mr. Javed Ansari, of what BJP has managed to do in one term, or is it also a reflection of the fact that despite a very strong sentiment, people didn't know where to take it, that the opposition and their leadership wasn't inspiring enough for them to move back to the Congress side?
Look, for one, the Congress and its allies did not consciously, and for whatever reason, they were unable to project a leader as their chief ministerial candidate. They didn't have a chief ministerial face. Two, this election increasingly became very polarized between those who want BJP and those who don't want BJP. It became a minority versus majority thing. And in a situation like this, it's not surprising. Conventional wisdom has it that in a situation like this, it's always the majority that wins. The Congress, by virtue of its alliance with the AUDF and other smaller parties, was hoping, and as we speak, somebody just WhatsApped me, a Congress leader. Obviously, a lot of people are watching our program and our election forecast, because somebody just WhatsApped saying this is going to be entirely the opposite. We'll get 80 plus. Now, anyway, this is their assessment. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. We will go by what what the sea water is projecting, because we are the ones who have commissioned them.
Yes.
Having said that, the Congress's best bet lay with trying to get a majority of the minority community votes and about 15 to 20, or 20 to 25% of the majority community votes. Evidently, they failed to do that, and that's why we have the numbers that we have. They were hoping that along with the other splinter groups, the smaller parties, they'll be able to draw in enough votes from the majority community, whereas the Congress and the AUDF would ensure that they get the maximum amount of minority votes. But in this polarization that has happened, evidently the Congress and its allies.
You know, you're very right in that sense, and
succeeded.
Mr. Ansari, that the Congress definitely seems to believe, and more than them, their allies seem to believe that they're going to perhaps get it, or it's going to be extremely close. And I say that because I remember after the elections, Vinay, they actually moved some of the candidates
Yes.
all the way to Rajasthan. You know, I don't know if they were preempting poaching even before the results came in, but that did happen. And they did take some of their ally candidates to all the way to Rajasthan and put them up in one hotel. I just want to point out that while this is the India Today Access My India projection for Assam, the seawater projection for Assam is yet to come. We've also, I'm looking at what the Republic CNX projection also is, and because we're putting all of them out there and we're leaving it for the voters and viewers to decide which one they want to really go with. Republic CNX projection gives 74 to 84 seats to NDA and 40 to 50 to Congress. So they're actually giving more to the NDA than what Access My India is projecting. But that's Republic CNX. Just want to emphasize on that. Mr. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, do you think that these numbers reflect the true story? And if so, why? Why was it that despite such a strong anti-CA and NRC sentiment, the vote may not go against the BJP?
You know, at least for today, we'll have to presume that these numbers are correct. So if this is correct, then we'll have to look at as to why, despite a lot of talk that the UPA had been able to get the social coalition in its favor and not the NDA, we have to understand as to if it happened despite a good social coalition, why did it not go with the UPA and instead the voters went and opted for the NDA? I think the answer would lie in the fact that this is an election, where the identity was not on the social lines, which has been there. Mind you, Assam has been in the middle of an ethnic, issue for several decades. Right in the inception years of the Assam movement, the RSS, Mr. Balasaheb Devras to be very precise, he was a Sarsang Chalak at that point. He is the one who actually said that there is need to demarcate or rather differentiate between the refugee and the infiltrator. He was the first one to actually postulate that if Hindus who feel aggrieved or victimized in Bangladesh, if they do not come to India, where else would they go? And they have to actually be welcomed here, whereas the Muslims who are coming in here, whatever be the reasons, be it economic hardships or others, have to be pushed back because they are not people of this land. So this entire debate has been of, the struggle for the BJP, to put it that way, was how to convince the voter that it is the party of the majority community. If these elections are true, then it would mean that the BJP, at least for the people of Assam, have been able to communicate that your social identity on the lines of caste or ethnic groups is not more important. You have to look at your pan-Hindu identity, and on that basis you have to choose the BJP and its allies.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting point that you've made there. Just highlighting what we're looking at, the India Today Access My India number projections for Assam, NDA 75 to 85, UPA 40 to 50. This Republic CNX number gives a higher number of seats, projects higher number of seats for the NDA. I'm also looking at, today's Chanakya Assam projections, which is now saying and projecting 70 and above for BJP and 56 plus minus 9 for the Congress party. So between the 2 and 3 different polls, Mr. Deshratan Nigam, the commonality seems to be that NDA is ahead and set to return in Assam.
Yes, Tanvi, in fact, all the 3 polls predict that BJP is coming back to power in Assam. And in fact, the vote swing is also quite marginal, about more than 6%. And secondly, the reason being that anti-CA protest did not work, and the polarization in the Muslim community did take place, but they were concentrated in few pockets. They were not spread out in entire Assam. Therefore, they affected few seats. And there was a counter, consolidation because of the Congress plus AIUDF coming. So Congress lost there. Otherwise, they had a very good chance. If they had not, shaken hands with the AIUDF, probably they could have done better. So in my opinion, I think there should not be any controversy with regard to Assam, because all the 3 opinion polls that you have shown are pointing in one direction only.
Absolutely, and that direction seems to be going in favor of the NDA as far as the policies are concerned. Mr. Sudhir, what is your sense? How do you read it? Do you agree with what Mr. Ansari is saying about why this seems to have worked for the BJP and its allies?
Well, I am actually quite perplexed at the Congress' larger strategy, because if you look at previous state elections in, say, Karnataka or in Gujarat before that, they actually followed what we called a soft Hindutva line. We had Rahul Gandhi visiting temples both in Gujarat and in Tamil Nadu because they wanted to blunt the BJP strategy, the Hindutva strategy of the BJP effectively. But if you go to an Assam, it's a completely 180-degree turn out there, because there, by going in an alliance with Badruddin Ajmal, you are essentially targeting the minority vote and saying that, okay, I will take the large chunk of the minority vote, thereby perhaps losing, if these exit polls are to hold, losing a large part of the majority vote. Now, as a strategy, is that good enough for the Congress if it is not coming to power either in a Gujarat or a Karnataka or now perhaps even in Assam? So in that sense, the larger national strategy, political strategy, electoral strategy of the Congress really confuses me.
Vinay?
Yeah, I mean, I've been perplexed by Congress's political strategy for a while now. I mean, I can't get what exactly is their game plan. So they mentioned about Assam, they've done pretty much the same even in West Bengal to some extent. They are fighting the left in one state and they are partnering them in another. So there are many areas where it is confusing. And I think the voter probably now sees it like that as well. I mean, people are not that stupid either. So the problem is that, and I was very, interested in what Mr. Deshratan Nigam said. I mean, he said that if they hadn't tied up with the AIUDF, they may have actually done better. Now that's even, if that is the case, then it is even more intriguing why they did that. I think part of the reason is that the Congress is badly missing Mr. Tarun Gogoi's presence there. I think he was one of the most wiliest and the sharpest political leaders that they had in the state, and his absence, of course, has affected them very badly. And I'm very sure that if this particular environment that existed in Assam, or the narrative, if Mr. Tarun Gogoi was around, the Congress would have done way better. His son is there, but I don't think he still has the same political acumen and sharpness that Tarun Gogoi had. So clearly that's one aspect that they're missing. Also, I think on the other side, it is very apparent that if the BJP ends up doing very well, this will be Himanta Biswa Sarma's election, because he pretty much rode roughshod over Sarbanand Sonowal and got all his tickets, and it was entirely his distribution. And in fact,
he will be the next chief minister?
That's personally my sense, that if that is the case, because look, there were a lot of candidates that were not exactly the chief minister's favorites, who he was able to push through. And if this is what the result comes in, then he's the guy. And pretty much I think he's always had an eye on that chair, and that's pretty much what he'll end up getting.
Okay. So let me quickly actually get in a word from Mr. Javed Ansari as well on this. Mr. Ansari, do you believe that if the BJP comes back to power, which as most polls are now projecting for Assam, Sarbanand Sonowal is out and Himanta Biswa Sarma will be the next chief minister?
Well, I won't be surprised, because Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma has been breathing down Mr. Sonowal's neck for a very long time. His is the bigger imprint as far as Assam is concerned. He's the BJP's points person for the entire Northeast. I happen to know Mr. Sonwal very well. He is by nature a very low-key, understated person, and perhaps in today's rough and tumble of politics, Himanta Biswa Sarma, who can play by the book and outside, is better suited than Mr. Sonwal. So I won't be surprised, although those who know BJP, maybe Nilanjan might be able to throw better light on this, but just by what I hear from talking to people, I won't be surprised if Himanta Biswa Sarma does become the BJP's face this time.
Okay, I'm going to take a very short break. I request all of you to stay on. We're going to try and get some more numbers in just a bit. Quick break. We'll be back and also talk a little bit more about what's projected for Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Stay with me.